With Micah Parsons.
He is in mandatory minicamp. He said he's going to be there for training camp, despite the fact that he's awaiting a contract that is expected to make him the highest paid defensive player in NFL history. And that means the Cowboys then will have the highest paid player in history in Dak Prescott and the highest paid defensive player. That's a deal that Micah Parsons and the Cowboys want to get done at some point this summer. Speaking of big deals, the Washington Commanders and Terry McLaurin want to try to get a deal done, but until they do, Terry McLaurin is staying away. Not president, mandatory minicamp at this current time. He has not been a part of any of the Commanders' off-season activities. And while we've seen other wide receivers like DK Metcalf, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase get paid this offseason, Terry McLaurin still has not been paid. He's produced like a top receiver, and now he wants to be paid like a top receiver. Meanwhile, we continue to monitor the quarterback battle in Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders has been taking some reps, doing the work. The fact of the matter is, it is so rare for a fifth-round quarterback to come in and start right away. Shedeur Sanders has looked good. He has carried himself the right way, but there's still a long way to go before we can begin to have Shedeur Sanders in the conversation about when he's going to be starting the season for the Cleveland Browns. Right now, it looks like Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, they'll be vying for that job, and Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel will continue to learn, bide their time, and wait for their opportunity.
Shedeur did actually join the conversation, though, literally yesterday, speaking to the media. This is what he said about how he's approaching minicamp.
It's just a mindset, it's just an adjustment. You got to go and understand the situation that you're in and be able to approach that and get the best out of it. You could view things as you're not getting reps in a negative way, or you could view it as, okay, when's my time to get out there? So there's no excuses, because when you get out there, nobody cares how many reps you got. Whenever you get in the game, nobody cares if you took a snap before. You know, like everybody cares about production. So that's the main thing. When you get out there, you got to be able to produce.
So we all know that Tom Brady has been a mentor to him, and that we've all heard that clip of Brady saying, I don't care if you get one rep, then you make sure that you make it work, and that's the attitude that he is taking. The path to the starting job, Mike T, for Shedeur Sanders is an interesting one. Shefty pointed it out. The chances of him winning the job week one are extremely remote. But I feel like there's almost no question at some point this season he will get the chance to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. And that should happen sooner than later, Green, for a number of reasons. First of all, he could be their quarterback in the future. I don't think there's any question he has much more ability than Dylan Gabriel, despite the fact that he was drafted 2 rounds later, and they made a great trade. I think Jacksonville likely could have a top 5, top 10 pick. That's going to be Cleveland's. Next year's draft is loaded with quarterbacks. So one of the things that Cleveland needs to accomplish this year is, where are they with the quarterback position? And this isn't the sexiest thing, but Shedeur Sanders can earn the trust and respect of his teammates, of Tommy Reese, the offensive coordinator, Kevin Stefanski, the head coach, every day, knowing his assignments, comporting himself as a pro. By all accounts, that's happening. And when you do that, that's how you start gaining momentum. And we could be sitting here in early October, Greeny, talking about Shedeur Sanders, the starting quarterback of the Browns.
Well, what is the path, Lewis? Give me the path for Shedeur Sanders starting today to being QB1.
Look, it's about maximizing every single opportunity, and that's what he is talking about. And I think Tom Brady is a great template to follow in terms of how he talked about the early beginnings of his career. Every rep does matter. I've been in those situations. Been in those situations where you don't get many reps in practice, and then you get thrust into a preseason game or a regular season game, and you're expected to perform, which means you got to be on it. You got to be on the details. And for Kevin Stefanski, it's got to be also about rewarding a guy like Shedeur Sanders with more reps, provided that he takes advantage of the limited ones that he gets, meaning he's crisp and clean in and out of the huddle. He's moving the football when they're in move the football type situations, whether it's in practice or in preseason games. He's getting the ball in the end zone. He's not turning the football over. That's what makes coaches give you more reps, starting with the 3s, then maybe with the 2s. Then you get some reps with the 1s. And I'll tell you what, look, we say the NFL's a meritocracy. In theory it is, but sometimes you don't always get the opportunity to really take advantage of that meritocracy. Shedeur will get the opportunity as he continues to progress and earn the trust of the coaching staff. And if he does that, look, Mike T's right. He's the most talented thrower on that roster. But that doesn't matter if you don't get the opportunity. And the only way you get the opportunity is you have to earn it. You have to earn more opportunities. And I think he has the right mindset right now in terms of how he's approaching that.
But just to tell you what he's trying to overcome, there's been one quarterback in the last 40 years drafted in the 4th round or later who started his team's opener. And that was Dak Prescott with the Dallas Cowboys. Dak lit it up, Tony Romo got hurt, and Dak Prescott had a path to start. When you are a mid-round draft pick, you need help to get into that starting job. Not only do you have to play well, carry yourself well, but then sometimes you need an injury. You need Joe Flacco to bang his shoulder. You need Kenny Pickett to bruise his knee. You need things like that that give you an opportunity to step out there, and then once you do step out there, you need to take advantage of it.
You know, Greeny, they should be parallel tracking their quarterback situation. Let's say we're getting the Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco winner for opening day. And as we're looking here on the screen, those first 4 games, let's be realistic. Cincinnati's not going to be easy. At Baltimore, the Packers, and at Detroit, they could be sitting here 1-3. What are we waiting on? Like, let's go get Shedeur. And again, I'm being presumptive that
if they were 1-3, they don't think like that.
Right. And I'm also saying that I think Shedeur is going to beat out Dillon Gabriel, which to me, from a talent standpoint, that's not even close. But you're parallel tracking, getting quarterbacks ready for 2 different groups. Opening day against Cincinnati, presumably that's Joe Flacco, and then the Shedeur Dillon Gabriel winner for October 1st.
I get that no one thinks that way, but we just said on our screen, it is the hardest strength of schedule to start a season that any team has. 1-3, I think, would be a pretty good start based on who they're playing, and then it only gets harder after that. The idea that they will not at some point this year find out what they have in both of these young kids, Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel, strikes me as very unlikely. So that's the situation in Cleveland.
Browns also starting mandatory minicamp today, and all eyes are on the quarterback logjam. During OTAs, Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett were getting the majority of first-team reps. 3rd-round pick Dillon Gabriel got a few, while 5th-rounder Shedeur Sanders has been the 4th QB. He spoke today. Take a listen. It's new on SportsCenter.
My goal is to be the best teammate and to be as polished as I can be. So in every aspect, I view things as I got time. I got time to be able to grow and mature, you know, and be able to understand the ins and outs of the defenses and be able to get the good insight from the vets in the room. So I look at it as, you know, a plus. Like I got time to actually be able to really have a great understanding. And whenever, you know, it's time for me to play, then it's time for me to play. But I'm not looking too far in the future about all that. I'm looking about every day in practice, because I had some misses out there today that, you know, we got to go in there and correct, about Reeves getting in and out drops a little bit faster from under center. So that's the main thing. I'm focused on the small things, and over time, the big things will happen.
And back with Adam Schefter and Tim Hasselbeck, and Shedeur Sanders right there. He said he still has time. Shefty, what have you been hearing about how Shedeur Sanders has looked in Cleveland so far?
He's looked good, but then again, they're throwing against their own teammates. They're throwing against air, so there's not a lot that can be taken away during OTAs and mini camps. But the fact of the matter is, he's coming there. He's acted professionally. He's thrown like a major league quarterback. He'll continue to have an opportunity to compete for the Browns starting